In Dragon Ball Super's Tournament of Power, we have seen the assembly of 8 universes coming together to determine who among them shall survive. And among them is Universe 7, the main universe which we have followed since the beginning of Dragon Ball. However, their twin universe of Universe 6 is also competing among them to survive. But who on the team of 10 fighters is the MVP? Well, in this video, we're going to break that down. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and enable notifications so you can see all of my content right away when it comes out. Alright guys, so in this video, we're going to be talking about who we believe the MVP of Universe 6 will be and is in the Tournament of Power. So to introduce my guest, you have seen him on my videos in the past and should know his content very well by now, and his channel is called
MJxTV. Thank you for having me back, Mike. I appreciate it.
But anyway, MJ, you and I are going to present who we believe the MVP of Universe 6 is or is going to be in this tournament, and then perhaps list off some dark horse potentials as we have done in my past video. And so, MJ, I'm going to allow you to start off on who you think the MVP is going to be, and who is your pick?
I believe that will be Kale, the Berserker. I was going to say legendary Super Saiyan, but I can't say that because the comment section would eat me apart because that's not exactly what she is, even though she does resemble a certain legendary Super Saiyan. But I do believe the MVP will be her. I mean, she's already kind of made her mark and she just left her stamp on the tournament, you know what I mean? She went all out, went berserk, like in her name, and literally destroyed almost the entire tournament arena, which has actually played a part in certain episodes we see later on. Like one of the magical girls actually using the rubble to her advantage. So she's actually shaped the tournament and she's gone on a rampage. She took out some people, you know what I mean? She eliminated, I guess, like the fodder, if you will. And she wasn't eliminated in episode 101. Goku, 17, 18 all had chances to take out an unconscious Kale and a weakened Caulifla, and they didn't. So I do feel like they're not only playing them up, they're playing them up for an even bigger and epic moment to come. And if that's the case, if Kale is actually going to do more than what she already did in episode 100, then I feel like she's definitely going to be the MVP, but I know you have someone else in mind, so why don't you talk about them?
Well, first off, I wanted to say that, yeah, I think Kale could certainly be a good pick for the MVP, and certainly it seems like she has continued to improve as we've seen her in the show. First off, of course, when she transformed into her form for the first time and was kind of dominating Cabba and seemed to only kind of be a mindless berserker, and now in the Tournament of Power, being able to harness her legendary form or her berserker form, whatever you want to call it, to where she actually has control of not only a kind of smaller intermediary form, which seems to be different from normal Super Saiyan, but also the big bulked up form on top of that. So she really is a very big contender. However, with that being said, of course, I have my own idea of someone who I think will be the MVP, and that's somebody who is also demonstrating his in-ring tactics and awareness in the tournament thus far, and his name is Hit, the legendary assassin of Universe 6. And of course, Hit already is incredibly powerful. You know, he's somebody who has rivaled and even seemed to be more powerful than Super Saiyan Blue Goku in the past. I'm not entirely sure about where he ranks now, but he's incredibly powerful as well as fast, and his techniques like the Toki Tobashi, which allows him to basically skip over time, go into his own dimension and attack you from there, kind of be unassailable to a different degree, and be able to, of course, retreat from some of the big guys like Jiren and kind of maybe use tactics to let them wear themselves down, I think is certainly one of the things that's going to allow Hit to be able to excel and perhaps be the MVP in this tournament, because, I mean, MJ, we know Hit is pretty OP.
Oh yeah, he definitely is. Like, I agree with you. We can't really rank him yet, at least not until after episode 104 airs, where we can actually see him in full fighting everything, you know what I mean, once he goes up against Dispo. But as of right now, it's hard to say. But the thing with Hit, though, is that he's kind of expected to be the MVP, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like someone, if you had to bet money on who would you bet? Oh, I'll bet on Hit, you know what I mean? And it makes sense. He has time skip, he's really powerful, but at least in my own view, I feel like the MVP is probably going to be someone that we least expect expect. And again, that kind of falls into the category with Kale too, because Kale is also someone you might want to put your money on because she's the berserker, you know what I mean? She could have like so much hidden power and potential. This is what the series is telling us. So who knows? Maybe me and you over here talking about hitting Kale, and it could end up being Magetta. Like Magetta could show up somebody pretty soon, but no, I'm just kidding.
The whole thing is Magetta seems to be also kind of like Botamo, this kind of like invulnerable, heavy, badass fighter who can just stomp you. But the whole thing is that he doesn't have Botamo anymore to cover up his ears if somebody insults him, so not too sure how long he's gonna last. But you even have some kind of wild cards, like fighters we haven't even really seen fight. Like in the past episode, I believe, we saw glimpses of the fact that Universe 6 has Namekians on their team. Well, as we've seen with Piccolo, Namekians can be really OP, they have magical powers, and they have like regeneration and things that really help them out, so maybe one of those Universe 6 Namekians is really going to be one of the big anchors of their team, you know? What do you think about them? Do you think that they're actually going to play any big part? Do you think that's the reason why we haven't really seen much of them so far?
Well, it's obvious they've kept them a mystery, and I can obviously tell why. It's a big reveal, you know what I mean? It's kind of telling us that Universe 6 is just more of a mirror image than we thought, you know what I mean? A lot of people thought just the science and the Frost, Frieza comparison, but now we actually have the Namekians, and this really makes me question stuff like, where's Universe 7 hit, you know what I mean? Where's the Universe 6 Majin Buu, you know what I mean, since they've existed before time? So according to Toriyama's more recent interview about Majin Buu's origins. But anyways, yeah, they've kept them a mystery, but I don't really see them playing that big of a role because, again, I just feel like Kale would probably be the biggest, just going off of what we've seen, and be more of the MVP type. But what's interesting to me though is, let's say they're going up against someone who's superior to them, they could always merge. That's a very interesting point that I have to think about, because they're not using Potara earrings or nothing like that. Them merging would be seen as like a technique since they're not using any outside objects, so that would be very interesting for them to merge and to become a single powerful entity, depending on where they rank in power, you know?
I think that's certainly one of the most interesting aspects of having these Namekians there, because you throw your cards down and it's like either you're going to be obliterated or the two of you can merge together, basically giving up one or both of your soul identities so that you can basically sacrifice yourself to save your universe. And sometimes I wonder if maybe, you know, when it comes down to either 6 or 7 being eliminated and, you know, some of the Namekians can't really do much, maybe one of them will lend their power to Piccolo. I mean, that would certainly be an interesting way to power up Piccolo and make him important again, but, you know, there's a lot of different things. But who else do you think is someone we could really consider as a dark horse, or someone who could really be the MVP out of nowhere?
Well, I think that goes to Cabba, because Cabba is a character that I think a lot of people are overlooking, and that is kind of just due to the fact that he's been overshadowed by the other Science, so that makes sense that people overlook him. But a lot of our friends have done videos on how he could be the MVP, or I guess I actually seen Rich do a video on how he could actually win the tournament. He went real in depth with that and why it could actually make sense from a story point of view. But the thing here with Cabba is, though, it's like he just doesn't come off as someone who has the power to be the MVP. When you think of MVP, you think of someone who goes all in, eliminates multiple people. On top of eliminating multiple people, he goes in and takes it to the strongest of the strongest, you know what I mean? So with Cabba, it's hard to say, but there is that one weird throwaway line where he's very confident in taking out Super Vegeta. And what's interesting is he knows that Vegeta has Super Saiyan Blue. He knows that Vegeta's Super Saiyan form was stronger than him back in the Universe 6 tournament, so, or at least he had Master Super Saiyan at that point, so it's very hard to say what Cabba meant by that, where he seems so confident in scrapping with Vegeta. Does Cabba have hidden power? Has Cabba's Super Saiyan form match Super Saiyan Blue from the last tournament? Who knows? No, I'm just kidding, don't quote me on that, but
that would be crazy if that actually did happen.
Yeah, that would be fun. One day of training, right? Yeah. They all just increase. Yeah. No, but it's like he could definitely play the MVP character, and we really are overlooking him. Like the Grand Prix said, all the jabronis are gone. We're entering into like the midpoint of the tournament. There could definitely be more twists and turns that could happen, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And Cabba is certainly one of the characters that seems like has a lot of potential to become really powerful and make some big accomplishments in the future. And just the way that he walked up to Vegeta and it's like, yeah, now it's your turn to go down. I thought that was just great, you know? It showed how badass he was. Not to mention he like knocked out 2 fighters in just his base form, so he might really go the distance in this fight. But I mean, there's even guys out there like Dr. Pig or whatever his name is, you know, that one one small healer dude in the background that we've seen a couple times, that maybe he's going to be the MVP, not through strength, but maybe he actually does have abilities to heal his teammates. You know, you see like Cauliflower right now seems to be down and kind of like depleted some of her energy. Well, maybe this guy will come in and restore her energy. You know, maybe he could do the same thing for like Hit and for Kale, you know, so you know, they could keep fighting and they could take out the big powerful dudes. It's not like Universe 7 or a lot of these people that we've seen so far kind of have like a Dende type fighter who, when they all get beaten down, somebody can automatically heal them and make them good to fight again. So if they have the ability to do that, and this guy is out there being able to heal them, that could certainly play a really big role in possibly winning the tournament for Universe 6.
So yeah, that would actually make them really dangerous to have a healer. And it's funny because even though Majin Buu was on the team, you never really heard them mention anything about his healing, you know, as far as that being like a thing for them to use to their advantage. But it does make Universe 6 came prepared, and I can honestly see those two Namekians kind of like surrounding the healer, that way he doesn't get knocked off. And then like you have like Hit or Kale or Khalid just walk you back to them, and then he heals them, and there you go. Which is crazy because, I mean, Zenkai's, dude. Zenkai's out the ass. So that's all I'm thinking about, and that could really make not only the Universe 6 science a real threat, but that could just make Hit also a real threat, you know. So yeah,
absolutely. There's so many different dynamics that are going on Universe 6 that I think could really generate some either big dominating MVPs like Hit or Kale, or could generate some underdogs like Cabba, Cauliflower, or anyone on that team. You never really know what direction they're going to try and move in, and I think that's one of the most interesting aspects of the Tournament of Power to begin with. But let us know your own thoughts down below in the comment section of who you think the Universe 6 MVP could be. Check out MJxTV in the description and the end card, and as I always say, stick around because there's a lot more to come in the future.
And you better subscribe. I know how to whisper too.